I get up in the mornings, on average, about 6 o'clock every morning, except Saturday when we get up about 4:45. I get up first. Harold doesn't get up until 7 o'clock. So I come down and I make breakfast for myself. And if Daniel's awake, then he has breakfast. More often than not, he wakes when I wake. Because he hears me getting up and he wants to come down as well. Right?
This morning, but plenty of sunshine, and with light winds this afternoon, a high of 18 Celsius.
Right then, sweetie. I'm off to Paris. I'll be back at 7:30, okay? I was born in Felindre, which is a small village outside Swansea, only about 5 miles away as a crow flies. But it may as well be on the dark side of the moon, frankly. It's a little enclave, cut off from the surrounding area. It's completely different from anything around it, and it's completely Welsh. As somebody who had worked for 10, 11 years in either the oil industry or the financial services industry and in the energy sector, I was probably one of not very many people who was actually qualified to do the job that I do now, which is to concentrate on the big energy companies of Europe and to provide them with a full service of advice on any mergers or acquisitions that they might be considering, or selling off parts of their businesses that no longer fit very well with their strategy, or indeed to help some of the emerging governments of Europe to privatise their industry.
I always had an interest with farming because I used to go to William Pentoy next door to the Shepherds in Felindre. There's an old gent who used to farm there. He was living on his own, bachelor, and we used to go there as children, and that's where it really took off with William. We used to run riot around the place, and we used to bring the lambs in to feed them. We had a lot of dogs down there. We used to take them for a walk. My mother bought me a pushchair once to put a doll in, but I came back with about 5 dogs, puppies in it. So she wasn't very happy with that. So that was the end of the playing with dolls. It was all animals from then on. When Arwel and I got married, we moved into this farmhouse where Arwel's uncle were living before. But Arwel's parents still run Maestir Mawr farm. In many ways, the two farms are run together, and basically it's a family unit. I often go up to Maestir Mawr to help Arwel's mother with feeding the turkeys because there's a lot of work with the poultry. In fact, Arwel and I made our first date when Arwel brought a turkey to my mother's house. We've always bought turkeys from Maestir Mawr, and little did I know then that I would be working with Arwel's mother in the business. Christmas time is a very busy time as we've only got a few days to do everything from the killing to storing them in the cold room to delivering them. So these chicks have got to put a lot of weight on before Christmas. But with the new EEC regulations that are coming in the next couple of years, I don't know what the future will be for a farm like ourselves in relation to keeping poultry.
Basically, the person I work for now, I had known for a number of years, and he called me up and he said, look, there's a job here at JP Morgan which you're ideal for. Come and talk to us about it. And Morgan is such a good name in financial services. It's one of the most admired banks in the world, very definitely. Has a huge presence in London, as well as being present in all of the other European markets. It was obviously an extremely attractive job, which I took. When I left Cambridge, which I didn't want to do, really did not want to leave the place. I loved it so much. I had the chance to do a PhD. But having gone straight from school to university, I thought I might go and try a few things for a year or so before going back to do this PhD. And one day my father was reading the Daily Telegraph in July, having graduated in June, and he said, RTZ requires numerate graduate for oil company. And he said to me, at the very least, you get a trip paid to London to see your friends. So I duly applied for it, and they sent me a note saying, please come up for an interview on such and such a date. And much to my horror, they offered me the job on the spot. So then I can remember coming out of RTZ and into a public telephone box near Piccadilly Circus and phoning my father and saying, they've offered me the job. And he said, and what did you say? And I said, well, I've told them I'll think about it. And he said, you get back in there and you take that job. And I did. And of course, I never went back to do research after that. And I worked for 3 years in their oil company before moving on to a small British quoted independent oil company, where one of my jobs was investor relations and contact with stockbrokers. And when that company was taken over 3 years later by a bigger oil company, this was in 1986, just ahead of Big Bang, I was given the chance to join Felindre as an analyst in the oil sector, in other words, to make recommendations on oil shares, when all of the big stockbroking firms were expanding to take into account this wonderful phenomenon of Big Bang. Ahead of Big Bang, it was a marvellous time for everybody in the stockbroking industry. Each successive month we had at Felindre at that time was a record month, and every time we had a record month, we had to have a party. So we were having a succession of parties celebrating record months.
Extra gases sold to new towns being linked up in southern Italy. Hello, Carabao speaking.
What I had to do was try and work out whether each one of these shares would outperform the FT index, basically, or underperform it. And those who I expected to underperform, I would say sell them, and those who I expected to outperform, I would say buy them. When I moved to cover European oil companies, later on at Felindre, covering the big oil companies in France, Spain, Norway, etc., it could be denominated in terms of tens of millions of dollars, I suppose, on a busy day. I think all you can expect to do is get it right 51% of the time, because you're being asked to make judgments on so many things that are out of your control. Take the oil price, for instance. I mean, anybody who had been short of oil shares before Saddam Hussein walked into Kuwait would have caught a cold. Because when something like that happens, all of them go up. It's not a case of selecting one stock over another. Everything goes up at that point. And equally, the rest of the stock market all goes down when that happens. So there are lots of things that are outside your control, but the best you can hope to do is get it right on things that are in your control.
After Arwel and I got married, we decided to expand on the greenhouse side of things, and indeed it is the main source of income for our farm at present.
Well, the state of the industry at the moment, as far as the sheep and the cattle are concerned, are very poor.
I don't think we could make a living just from the sheep and cattle to sustain the two families.
No,
your parents and us here. I don't think we could,
Not with the acreage we've got.
No. We needed something, so the greenhouses they keep us going.
Well, the government is preaching for people to go into other fields, so we've expanded on the greenhouse side.
The work is a bit tiring. We can't go away as such together. One of us has got to be here all the time, because we've got to, with the plants, we've got to do a lot of watering and looking after them, especially in the summer, where we're watering 3 times a day, 4 times a day.
In the spring and summer, yes, very busy.
So there's only a brief period in, say, the end of August where we can go away together. We hardly ever go anywhere, do we?
No, we hardly ever leave a place.
We're home birds anyway.
Yes,
Our industry specialisation sits in London, and I'm part of the energy team. If there's an energy project in Spain or in Germany, I get drafted in as the expert in that industry to work with people in our Frankfurt office or our Madrid office as needed. And that means travel. That means up to 2 days a week out of the office in different places, sometimes a whole week out of the office. So you have to have the capability to drop everything and jump on a plane. A lot of my work does involve going to the continent quite often, and every now and then, once every 2 or 3 months, I have to go to America to visit some of our North American clients as well. Our business is getting more European in nature, which means that we can't just do business here in London for the United Kingdom. We have to know our energy industry right across the European continent, and that now of course includes Eastern and Central Europe as well as Western Europe. Today I'm off to Paris, which is a more routine trip really, to liaise with our Paris office on how we deal with French oil and gas companies.
In Ysgol Gyfun Ystalyfera, I once won a competition for compiling a project on oil, which is ironic really. Then I went on to study a degree course in geology at Aberystwyth University, but changed over to do geography, where I studied various subjects with regards to soils. But it's the practical side of the farming that draws me, not the academic side. Friday is a very busy day where we prepare for the market on Saturday, and everybody's got to chip in. We all help.
John? Yeah. Ano greit o gabbage yma'n so then? Wel, gwedwch 10 i ddisen. Gwendo wain sina.
I come from an extremely socialist background, historically. My grandfather in particular was a great Labour Party man. I think in his day there was a very, very good reason for adopting the socialist attitude in South Wales, because conditions and pay structures and everything like that were extremely tight and difficult. Life was hard for people, and they did genuinely need to have a betterment of social conditions and everything else. Today, I think things have moved a great deal away from the reasons that the Labour Party was originally set up for. And I think there's a genuine lack of understanding among certain people down in Wales, some of them in my family, why we don't need a steel industry or a coal industry in South Wales anymore, and why we shouldn't keep pouring billions into these industries to keep them going, because it's the God-given right of every Welshman to work in a steelworks or in a coal mine if they should want to. And my own father, who understands economics perfectly well and reads the Financial Times every Saturday morning and has been known to dabble in the stock market in his time, still finds it difficult to understand why we don't need these type of industries anymore in Wales, and why we shouldn't almost keep them open at all costs. Me, on the other hand, I deal in the harsh realities of cash in and cash out every day of the week, and especially now as a banker, that becomes more and more important. And backing investments that are going to pay back is always the most important thing in banking. And keeping things open at all costs for a social purpose doesn't win out in the long run, rather than bringing new types of industry to meet the new type of demand that exists is always a better move for the future.
Without subsidies, the sheep farming would be very difficult. It would be impossible. Sheep farming is a way of life for us and for many farms throughout Wales. So if the subsidies go, the sheep go, and a whole way of life would disappear.
I think there's too much lamb. They're not buying. I think these butchers are making too much profit on it, something. There's too much coming in from Ireland.
And the trouble we've got is they're going to put the windmills up here.
Yes, aye. They're going to cover 500 acres with windmills up there.
Yeah.
So.
And that's our rights gone, isn't it?
Yes, so we won't be able to keep sheep there anymore then.
So I don't know what we're going to do then. We'll have to wait and see what happens with them, what Exactly.
Well, we just have to cut down the sheep and keep them on the land as well.
Yes, yeah. That means we'll have to more work feeding them in the winter.
And more work, we'll have to buy more feeding for them.
It is a tiring lifestyle, but by the time we get past Reading in the car, on the way down on a Friday night, I've forgotten all the problems of the week, and I can start relaxing and enjoying myself, having put the pressures of work and London behind me. It's a great therapy.
I'm a geologist and I explore for oil and gas, in particular in Africa, also in Europe and Russia. So far this year, I would guess I've been away 12 or 13 times. Lifestyle is something that you evolve. If we weren't happy with it, the two of us, it would, the lifestyle wouldn't work, if you can see where I'm coming from. Personally, you know, for example, I travel a lot, so does Carol, but we generally travel at the same time. We both enjoy archaeology, we both enjoy the theatre, we both enjoy books. So there is it's not incompatible. The only thing I do that Carol hates is walking.
But I think it's much more difficult when you have one party in a marriage working very hard and travelling a lot, and the other one at home. That's when the trouble starts, I think, because when you're both doing it, then that's fine. You've both got challenging jobs, both got a lot of travel to do, and you've got some pretty interesting things to say to each other at the end of each day. However, let's say I was a housewife and Chris was in Krasnoyarsk for 4 weeks. I think I'd have far more grounds for getting discontented through being left on my own for 4 weeks with nothing to do than being in America while he's in Krasnoyarsk, or, you know, travelling around the capitals of Europe or whatever.
One of my most active interests at the moment is Egyptology, something that I've been interested in since I was quite young. And now I'm studying Egyptology at London University in their extramural department. I'm on a course that'll probably take me 8 years to complete, and I'm in the 3rd year of that course. But I've got to the stage now where I have to learn some hieroglyphs, and that's my big project for the next academic year, is to start the hieroglyphs.
I think if we did have children, our way of life would change fundamentally. Either that or have nannies on shifts, and I'm not sure whether I agree with that. So it's something that we'll have to decide on in the next few years.
I'm afraid I'm not a great dynastic person. I am under pressure, I guess, from, you know, my mother, the outlaws. You know, there is pressure to have children, but I'm afraid I'm just not. I'm not very good with ordinary day-to-day things. I hate shopping, I hate queuing, it drives me bananas. And I kind of feel that in many ways children could sort of tie me down in that way. But then on the other hand, I have a niece and nephew, and Carol's got a young nephew, and it's great fun being around them. So I think it's very different. Children are very different when they're your own. And I suspect it's like a lot of experiments, you've actually got to take part in it to realise what it's like.
I don't have any difficulty in getting up early, and getting up at 4:45 on a Saturday has become a way of life. We load the van on a Friday night, but the flowers are the last thing to go in on Saturday morning, because sometimes we get a frosty night and they can kill the flowers off. Then it's off to Swansea Market. Right. We arrive on the market about 6 o'clock when the doors actually open in the loading bay. The first customers start to arrive about 7 o'clock, so we've got an hour to put everything out and get everything sorted by the time our first customers arrive. The other traders are in all week, but we've got to start from fresh every Saturday morning. The market on Saturday is really the highlight of our week. We're working hard on the farm all week, and then we get to go to the market on Saturday and we have a chat with our friends. Everything we sell on the market is produced by ourselves, so we are limited in what we can grow. So we have stuck to the vegetable side and, of course, our flowers. We don't sell any fruit of any kind. We just sell what we can grow ourselves.
What?
My own background is by no means a wealthy one. Completely working class in origins, and whatever I've achieved it through education and hard work. Well, the historic part of my work in stockbroking, that was all aimed at making money basically for pension funds and beating averages and hopefully increasing the performance of those pension funds. So I'm completely happy about that. And in what I do now, a lot of the work that the bank has is related to helping the Central and Eastern European countries to come to a market economy using the expertise that we have in Western markets, in capitalist markets, and helping these governments to adapt to the new world that they want to come into. So I think that's morally a useful contribution to make.
There is some sort of business in my blood because I really do enjoy selling on the market. Right, you know, I'll put 2 for now.
Hello, Pa.
Hello, it's good to see you. How are you all?
Good.
Yeah.
Hello, Daniel. Hello, Daniel. Hello, all right. Good. Bye, John. Right. Oh, well. Good with that bit.
Hello, man.
Who's that then?
He doesn't look too interested.
Hi
Hi there, all.
Don't see you very often.
So no, absolutely. He's curious. He's curious. He doesn't know what's going on here, boy.
You're not sure he went to
Do you
go to
want
school.
to get an empty carrot?
Ah, yeah.
Oh, good boy you are, eh?
I made a special mousse for Arva's birthday.
That looks nice.
Well, it's solidified anyway, that's amazing. Despite being transported from Wiltshire.
Survived Chris's driving.
Yes, it has.
Thank you, Alma.
Yes.
So how's things in Felindre then? Things still changing?
We've had a few changes this week, yeah. The public house has changed ownership or tenancy this week. They've moved out. And also the other house down the bottom, Tenant, people have moved out and new people moved in.
Yeah. How's the what are you actually doing at this time of year? What's in the greenhouses now?
In the greenhouses, we're doing a bit of maintenance and autumn bedding and keeping things taken over.
Yes. I need some advice with my garden, really, what to put in now before Christmas. Is there
We've
anything?
got plenty of money, we'll
Plenty of money, you sorted it.
solve any problem.
Do you still take the Financial Times on a Saturday? Because I
Yeah.
brought you a copy down.
Yes, I do once a week on a Saturday. And the more I read of it, the less money I got, I think. I think that's one can't read too much. I tend to change the papers once I start believing them, I change them.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to see us starting a family, really. But I don't know whether
Want
that's
to be an
on-
auntie?
Oh,
Oh my
yes,
God.
yes, yeah. I don't know whether that's on the cards or not, but I think that would be, I'd like to see her having children, yes. I've got what I want anyway out of this life. I wouldn't swap a car for all the money in the world, I don't think. I've got what I want from this life anyway. This, farming is my life. I enjoy that life and that's it.
Well,
If you call having a good life getting up at 5 o'clock on a Saturday morning to go to take a pile of Swedes to the market, that's a good life. Well, I don't. You see, Saturday morning doesn't exist for me as a concept. But I do my work. I get up at 5 in the week to fly off somewhere for the day, and I get a lot of kick out of that, seeing different places, meeting different people. I think I have the life that suits me anyway.